Still at Tachi Palace Casino Resort in Lemoore. Mike McCormick is with me. Mike is one of the guys behind Cigar Mas Fino. And Mike is here to talk about trying to figure out how to curate a selection of cigars to complement 500. I got it wrong. It was 450 whiskeys. They're actually up to 550. Mike, when you're trying to curate a selection, are you just going birdshot, or do you come in and look at what the bottles are?
I kind of talked to Jay a little bit. We were invited out to Dalmore and Davidoff whiskey night. That's how it all got started. And then I kind of took a look at what he had in stock, what Davidoff had to offer, which they have everything from mild, medium to medium full of the spicy, much like some of the whiskeys. And in Davidoff's portfolio, they also have Avo and Camacho cigars. So I think from a price point, from a flavor profile, it's got all the options covered there from your novice all the way up to your aficionado. And I think Jay's put together a nice selection of bottles out here. They complement one another because he has some maybe entry level, also scotches, bourbons. But if the aficionado comes in for that hard to find bottle, I think he's going to find the same thing in his whiskey and scotch selection out here at the still.
Yeah, the selection of bottles that they've got is really remarkable. I mean, so I'm a Dalmore fan,
right? And
there are, I think, 2 bars in town that have the 12-year-old on the shelf.
Right.
Nobody's got the 18. Nobody's got King Charles. I mean, it's impossible to find the higher end stuff.
Right.
But this is also true with some of the other whiskeys that they have here. 550 bottles, you're going to find stuff you're not going to see anywhere else. With cigars, you've got a little more of a constrained environment to operate in. Shy of just screwing the embargo and bringing out the Cubans.
Right.
You guys have to operate within certain parameters. Obviously, Davidoff offers a really high-end experience, but you start bringing in the Camachos and that kind of thing. Was it a matter of looking at the menu, or was it a matter of looking at your stock and saying, okay, I just need something for everybody?
Well, I think, first of all, being invited to the Davidoff and Dalmore event by Jay himself was our invitation to let him try the Davidoff, and also something he was interested in carrying. Davidoff being right up there with the best of the Cubans, the craftsmanship, the quality, the age, aligns much in line with what Jay's trying to do here, bring in more sophisticated brands, more carefully crafted brands. And I would put Davidoff up against any cigar manufacturer for craftsmanship, quality, aging. Also, Davidoff, the white label, are all made to pair with something different. For instance, Grand Cru red wine, Anniversario is going to be champagne, Signature is going to be a white wine, and then your Millennium is made to go with whiskey cocktails. So along the lines from a nice, let's say Blanton's a light, something light, to something more spicy, a little more heat. Davidoff's profiles go from the lightest of the light, and the Millennium compare with some of the heavier, more heat-rich liquors that he might have.
I'm a big fan of the Millennium. I also love the Churchill, especially the Churchill After Hours.
Right.
But that is a one and done cigar.
Right.
You cannot piggyback on that unless you have a lot of water on hand.
Yeah, cleaning your palate's very important. We discussed that last week, that some dark chocolate can reset your palate. Obviously, water always helps out as well. You mix the two, you're ready to go for another one. But you're right, the late hour is aged in Scotch cask, has a very unique, heavier flavor, but also is going to pair with some of Jay's bottles out here very well. With the heat and the actual deep richness of the cigar, they complement each other very well.
So for the guys that hear Davidoff and go, look, brother, I got to work for a living.
Sure.
Where do you steer them next?
Well, I think that's why they have Avo and Camacho under their portfolio as well. The Camacho Connecticut is nice and light and smooth. It's not going to hit your pocketbook too hard, but the same quality and craftsmanship going to Camacho that go into the other Davidoffs. So Jay's very lucky that he has the whole portfolio, good, better, best, Camacho, Avo, Davidoff. It won't hurt anybody's pocketbook. And with his Whiskey of the Month Club that he has, his pours make it affordable to enjoy a cigar and some whiskey at a reasonable price. There's no reason why the aficionado or the novice can come out and enjoy both a cigar and some whiskey out here at the still.
For you, we've got Scotch, we've got bourbon, we've got American whiskey, we've got rye. I mean, the gamut is here. 550 bottles.
Right.
You
Quite
got
the
everything.
selection. Yeah.
If somebody says you get one cigar tonight, what's your go-to?
My go-to, I think you can't go wrong with the Signature 2000. Point being, worldwide, the volume of that cigar in that size sold, Davidoff documents 1 million of that single cigar in that size. A nice mild cigar, but you can enjoy with anything. But I think it's tested throughout the United States and Europe alone. We were in Europe for a couple weeks about 2 months ago, and there's the Signature 2000 on the shelf. You don't have much time, or if you want to just savor it. To me, the Signature 2000 is my go-to when I pick out a Davidoff cigar.
That's a great recommendation. Outside of the Davidoff family, I mean, so I haven't yet been to the Bakersfield store for Cigar Mas Fino.
Okay.
I live in Fresno, so
Sure.
Cedar and Knees has been my default.
Right.
I walk into that humidor and I love cigars. And I've got a pretty good sense of what I like, but there's definitely a moment when you walk in where you're just like, oh, this is like the toothpaste aisle. There's everything, and I don't know what everything is. When you're going through and you try to pick out something new, what's your reference point? Are you looking at bands? Are you looking at boxes? To somebody who's completely oblivious, they're walking into Cigar Mas Fino for the first time. Where do you send them?
Where do I send them? That's a tobacconist job. We have very educated staff to ask the right questions of the consumer and say, listen, what are you looking to get out of this? Is it a special occasion? Okay, you might lead them towards something a little more special, a little more limited. Are you a first-time smoker? You might get something at entry-level price point. Chris and the whole staff up in Fresno has done a very good job of curating the right cigars for every level of cigar smoker. At the same time, Chris is very educated and always shares the knowledge with all the staff to make sure we know what's new, what's good about it. And most of the tobacconists there have tried the blends, so we can kind of pass on that knowledge to try to ask the right questions to make sure you get the cigar you'll be satisfied with.
So one of my favorites for non-cigar smokers who want to hang out and have a cigar but are weary of overdoing it has been the Rocky Patel 1999 Connecticut.
Okay.
That is, in my opinion, that is the perfect introductory cigar. If you like cigars, you're going to enjoy it. If you don't like cigars, you're not going to hate it. But either way, you're also not going to get sick smoking.
Right. Yeah, I think the comparable cigar we carry in both shops is the Oliva Connecticut Reserve. I think the Toro lists are about $13.49. Not bad. It's going to last probably 45 minutes to an hour. Very silky wrapper, smooth vanilla cedary taste, really smooth finish. From the novice to the aficionado, that seems to be our go-to mild for somebody who comes into the lounge at either location and wants a nice, smooth, consistent smoke.
Now, there's going to be folks who come out to the still and they're excited to try something new, and they're going to be able to talk to Anthony and the guys here at the still and kind of get some guidance. What's the right entry point? What's going to pair well with the whiskey that they want? I've been really impressed. When I go into Mas Fino, I see newbies coming in all the time, and you can spot them from a mile away,
right?
Because they walk into that humidor and you just see that like, oh, holy smokes, there's a lot here. And then somebody comes in and says, hi, can I help you?
Sure.
For somebody who's there, who's just walking in for the first time, what would you suggest that they describe to one of your team to help them locate? Because probably the ultra high nicotine, super dark, my Uzi weighs a ton,
right? Yeah,
isn't the right call,
right?
For somebody who's walking in and just wants to get some flavor, have a nice time. What do they need to say walking into your shop?
Well, some of the questions I ask when I greet someone coming into the lounge are very quick analogies between food and cigars. I kind of ask them, hey, what's your preference when you go to a restaurant? Do you like chicken or fish? Do you like steak? If you like steak, how do you like that done? That kind of gets me into the flavor profile they're looking for. Then I also ask, hey, special occasion like we talked about, Do you have a budget in mind? Just because I don't want it to be intimidating. I want to let them know we have different options and different price points. So if they're just breaking in, they're not going to overspend and feel dissatisfied with their selection. Also, with us pushing something on them, they may not want to spend that type of money. But we're trying to make everybody comfortable, feel at home. Because when you're with Cigar Mas Fino, you're with family right away. That's what we try to instill in all of our employees. Treat us like a family. When you really come in, we want you to have your Mas Fino moment, so to speak. And that's what we try to do with each person that comes in. Welcome them into the family. And the best way you can do that is just make them comfortable.
So if you're going to Cigar Mas Fino, whether you're going to Bakersfield or you're going to Fresno, there's options ranging from $5 a whack to,
Absolutely.
I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think the most expensive one's $165, I think. Yeah.
Which, by the way, unless they give me one to try to talk about for promotional purposes, out of my budget too. But I mean, the average stick, it seems like you're somewhere in the range of 10 to 20 bucks.
10 to 20 bucks is a perfect range. That gives you different size flexibility, different brand flexibility, which I think ultimately is what somebody wants. They want a choice. And once they feel comfortable with their selection, the price, then if there's a special occasion, then they'd have no problem doing that. We try to build trust with the customer to make sure they're comfortable with us and we're comfortable with them. But at the same time, we want to make their experience the most enjoyable possible.
So you hear the amount of thought that's going into the curation of cigars, both at Cigar Mas Fino in Bakersfield and in Fresno, but also here at the Still, at Tachi Palace Casino Resort. If you're coming in to try whiskey, you can also try cigars, and they've got something for every price point. They've got something to match up with every whiskey. And whether you're talking to Michael, whether you're talking to Anthony, whether you find Steve, who has shockingly the best nose of any radio salesman I've ever met, there's a lot of good options for you. And we want you to get out here, give it a try. You can't miss the humidor. It's right out front. But the Still is at Tachi Palace Casino Resort in Lemoore. We're right across from the coffee shop. Whether you join us tonight or you come out this weekend, by all means, grab a cigar, grab a whiskey, hit the patio. Thank you for being out here, man.
Hey, thanks for having us on tonight. Really appreciate it.
All right. And if I don't see you here tonight, I'll probably see you at the lounge in Fresno this weekend.